Hello, my name is Timothy Clemens. I am a member of the general public. I have been interested in EMS for over a year now. Originally, I was interested in becoming a EMT and then a paramedic. I've decided that that's not the career path for me, but I am still very interested in EMS, and that's what I want my life's work to be focused on is EMS. What I'm going to talk to you about in this video is EMS 2.0. Now, EMS 2.0 was this term coined in June of 2009 by San Francisco Fire Department firefighter paramedic Justin Shore. And EMS 2.0 essentially means EMS reform. Now, EMS reform means different things to different people. And the real stumbling block to the getting EMS 2.0 a reality is that you've got all these different people that are like, no, it should be this way, that way, my system's better than your system. And no, what we need is consensus. We need 1 million people to agree on how we're going to move forward. We need the EMTs, the paramedics in the field, to be on the same page as the EMS medical directors, as the ED physicians, as nurses, as the fire administrations that provide EMS services, whatnot. We need everybody to kind of agree on some key things, like, well, how are we going to judge 40 years from now if EMS is better, worse, or the same as it is today, all over the whole world? So I think that's what EMS 2.0 means to me is it's all about 1 million people coming together and figuring out how they're going to move forward, how they're going to decide just what the optimal system for each community. You know, I live here in King County, and one of the stumbling blocks for me is realizing that what works here in King County, first of all, may not actually work all that well, and that it certainly doesn't work anywhere else. You know, even in places, Boston, where they also have a very similar response system, there are some key differences, and so it's very important for us all to come together and put away our differences and come up with how we're going to make EMS better. And there's real opportunity to do this. In the fall of this year will be EMS Expo. And Shore and his colleagues, Setwa, Glencores, Kaiser, Keith Wesley, his colleagues have been doing something called a seat at the table. And this is where EMS field providers are actually getting involved in discussing policy, discussing things like how do you judge how well a system is doing and how well should providers be paid and different things like that. And until a seat at a table came about, there was never really an effort to bring field providers into the policy world. And quite frankly, my opinion is it's about time. Okay, EMS field providers are the ones that are actually responsible for what happens. You know, if somebody messes up, and a patient dies, usually it's the field provider who gets fired, not the medical director, not the chief of the service, but the field provider. So ultimately, everybody needs to be on the same page. And EMS Expo is a great opportunity. I think there does need to be a EMS 2.0 organization that is committed to bringing 1 million people together and saying, okay, we can all, there's got to be a way that we can all agree on how to move forward. We don't know what the end result is, but we need to start laying the framework for moving forward and whatnot. So I think that's where a seat at table could be really neat. You know, get a stadium packed full of EMS people, physicians and field providers and get them all in the same room and start asking questions and have people raise yes, no, and create a document that says, okay, we got 1,000 people in a room. Here's what the surveys said and whatnot, and this is how to move forward. That's what EMS 2.0 should be all about, is 1 million people coming together and deciding how to move forward, how to make this system better. Okay? It's not about, oh, my way is better than your way. No, it's about we all have a crap load of learning to do. We know very little in some aspects of EMS. They're actually quite essential. We know very little. So we all have a lot of learning to do. Now, of course, I have probably the most learning to do because I'm not a EMS person at all. Um, but I think we can all come together and work together to move forward. And ultimately, I think 40 years down from the road, we'll look at this moment as a great moment in time. This is where 1 million people got together and made a really important part of public safety and public health and healthcare. Kind of took it from, oh, it wasn't really taken seriously, to, whoa, here we are 40 years later and people are paid well, they're respected, and things are just going well. We know how well things are going, and people are just having a great time. They're learning all kinds of new things, and that's what this is all about, is coming together. So 40 years down the road, we have an EMS that is so much greater, so much more enjoyable to work in, so much more effective than it was today.